All right, welcome in. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. We'll make it up to you on the back end. We'll go a few minutes late. I had to fix the stream, but it looks like we are up and running, at least in most places. I'm going to double check on the WagerTalk Twitter while I introduce our panel. Tokyo Brandon made it home in time, so he's back with us, and we have Bryan Leonard back. Bryan, hope you're feeling better. Great to have you guys back. Great day to talk some baseball.
Yes,
TB, how was your dinner? How was your dinner, TB?
Had a dinner drinking thing. I ran home. I think I swallowed a bug on the way home. Something's in my throat. But yeah, ready to go. I have a $5 play out today, and I am ready to go. Lots of stuff to like today, I think.
TB, did you know? So, like about a week ago, Mallory freaked out because we were on a walk and a spider landed on her, so she lost her mind. And I looked it up, and it's apparently that's good luck. If a spider falls on you, it's a lot of cultures think that it's good luck. So maybe swallowing a bug goes the same. I'll tell you what, TB, I know you're a superstitious guy. The reason I showed up with a ball cap today is because yesterday, right before I got on the show, Mallory's like, you got to do something about your hair. And I was like, we were about to start in 2 minutes. I threw the hat on, and then we hit our parlay. I hit my 5% play. So I went back to ball cap today. Bryan Leonard, we'll bring you in. Do you know what this logo is? This is a tough one. This is a deep cut right here.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out. I have no idea.
This is the Delmarva Shorebirds, single A affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. Delmarva refers to the Delmarva Peninsula, which has a piece of Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia on this little piece of land, about 100, maybe 115 miles from Baltimore, in a town called Salisbury, Maryland. So Delmarva is not a town. That is what do you call it? A compound? Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and single A for the Orioles.
Colony.
That was my segue. That's where we're starting today. That was my segue into the first game. Can you believe that 2 summers ago, Jackson Holliday was playing for this team, and now it feels like he's just been a big leaguer for a while now. TB and I talked about this game yesterday. Trevor Rogers, maybe he's finally showing up for this team. 8 innings, shutout ball. Orioles won that game 6-0. Not as good of a setup for them tonight, Bryan Leonard. It's Charlie Morton on the mound, and the Rangers are going to do, it's lats to start, but it looks like that could be some bullpen arms. So let's head to Baltimore, Maryland. Rangers, Orioles. How are you seeing this one?
I think they're trying to stretch Lats out from what I've been reading. Try to get him more in there. They like his stuff. He's been around 4 seasons, most of it, in fact, all but his last time out. He's never started before. 3.39 career ERA, 1.34 WHIP. That's not too bad, but it is from a reliever standpoint, so you have to take a little bit off of that. But he's a guy who's got some decent numbers. Comes into the year, this game, at 3.26 ERA, 3.61 expected, 1.29 WHIP. Good whiff percentage, excellent whiff percentage, 91st percentile, chase rate 81st. If he's has any kind of weakness at all, it's probably his walk rate. He's a career 12.0 on a walk rate. This year's a little bit better, 10.3. Strikes out 23.8, which gives him a 13.5 strikeout minus walk ratio. Decent, but once again, he has been coming out of the bullpen for most of his career, so that may be something that we could take advantage of here. The problem is Baltimore doesn't hit lefties very well, so if he stays in the game longer than a couple innings, that may be a problem, but we will have to see here. Charlie Morton's had a roller coaster season, comes in with a 5.64 ERA, but a 4.20 expected. His whip is 160, which you don't normally see. This is only the 3rd time in his career he's had a walk rate above 10. He's at 10.4 right now. Strikeout percentage is about the same as it was last year, but he is walking a little bit more. Strikeout minus walk of 17.6. His whiff rate in the 70th percentile, strikeout rate 63rd. concerns, average exit velocity 18th, walk rate 22nd, which we've talked about, and his extension 21st. He is pitching very well right now, a lot better than he had earlier. The problem is the team does not hit lefties, so I'm probably going to sit this one out. I gave a little look at Texas early on, but without knowing how long Latz is going to go, I would rather sit back and see what their plans are for him. But I hear they're trying to stretch him out a little bit.
Yeah, X factor here, so I don't really like to bet on X factors. Charlie Morton, surprisingly, my numbers like him. I have him ranked 10 out of 30 on a curve of 30. I don't think he's actually that good. He doesn't pass the eye test. Both teams' bullpens performing well, and neither lineup is really doing much right now. They're both a little bit below mediocre in current form. So if anything, I would go an under in this one. But again, one of the starting pitchers is a bit of an X factor, so I probably will stay away from it.
Yeah, good point by Bryan. The Orioles just profile better against right-handed pitching. Are the star of the show last night, 2023 Delmarva Schwarber, Jackson Holiday, 3 for 5, 4 RBIs. He's not as good against left-handed pitching, and Latz is a very tough lefty. I did hear the same, Bryan. I know they are trying to stretch him out. So I was trying to get an idea of, just asking some people I know that know, if you will, trying to get an idea of how long Latz will go. We think maybe 75 to 80 pitches today. So, I mean, if he's going to give you 75 to 80 pitches, he's a little bit economical. The Rangers do have the bullpen set up pretty nicely, where I think they're definitely the right side from a value standpoint. Kind of like both of these teams, just from a day-to-day betting standpoint right now. So I didn't play this yet, but the only way I would play it is Rangers. I think I don't think I could lay any sort of price with the Orioles here. It would have to be Rangers or pass. And TB, we're getting some love in the chat right now. We had a good show yesterday. That's why I rolled back up with the hat. We hit almost everything. Colin Gregory says almost every lean between Adam and TB was correct yesterday. We kicked the week off with a parlay winner. Mariners Braves, nice one. I think plus 214 odds. We've got a 3-teamer back today. Sean Michael went 4-0 yesterday. Nice plus 440 day for him. Justin Coolin says, just wanted to say thanks to Adam, TB, and Brandon. His picks.
TB and Brandon, same person, but okay.
I'm sorry, Adam, TB, and Bryan. Sorry.
Maybe it was on purpose.
Hey, his picks the last 2 weeks went 20-4. That's what we're here for, trying to share some knowledge and help you guys, just make better picks. And I think it helps us make better picks as well, doing this show on a daily basis. So we appreciate all of you. Give us those likes, subscribes. It very much helps. We very much appreciate it. So we can continue to show up 5 days a week. Let's get to another game. Colin Gregory says, Rays money line, wrong team favored. How do you feel about that, Bryan? Rays Royals.
All right. I'm going to have to take some time to get to those numbers. Right now, we're looking at Tampa Bay. Bradley's on the mound against Bubic. Bubic a lefty, obviously. We're looking at maybe 130, 135, 8.5 here in this one. And Taj Bradley's, there's been talk about getting him out of the starting rotation. A lot of the fan talk I'm talking about, comes in with a 4.95 ERA, but a 3.82 expected. Unlike everybody who watches this show, they know what that means. The typical fan does not. So they don't know he's pitching with a little bit of bad luck. 135 whip on the season. Fastball velocity, 82nd percentile. Barrel rate's good, 75th. Hard hit rate, 70. Ground ball percentage, 78, which is very important. And Kansas City's not really a home run hitting ballpark, but based on the way the wind is blowing a little bit today and the heat, it may become more than normal. So that's something to keep in mind here. But he's struggled a little bit lately. Last start out, played the Orioles, got bombed, 6 earned runs in 1.1 innings. Game before that, he was very good against the Mets. Then he plays the Marlins, gives up 7 earned runs in 4 innings. Then he plays the Astros, nothing. So he's very inconsistent as of late, and that's something you have to take a look at. Chris Bubich, also coming off of a game, I believe that he did not have his best stuff last 2 times actually out. Against Kansas City, gives up 3 earned runs in 5.1. And against the Yankees, which is normally a good hitting team, but they're not hitting well the last couple of weeks. He gave up 5 earned runs to them in 4.1 innings. So keep in mind that last year he only threw 30 innings. The year before, 16 innings. This year he's already up to 85. He's got great numbers across the board. When you take a look at the StatCast, everything is excellent other than his fastball velocity, which is only in the 20th percentile. But he's being a lefty and having 5 pitches helps him in that regard. But yeah, it makes you wonder with him, with a few other guys that we'll talk about this week. They're getting to that point where they're pitching a lot more than what they did last year, and it may start to affect them. If it does, in that case, in this one, the total may be something to take a look at. It opened at 10. Now I'm seeing 9.5 and a 10 under. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Looking at the wrong line. 7.5. I'm so sorry about that. 8.5 is actually what it is. Jesus Christ. 6 o'clock in the morning is killing me. 8.5 with the total. I would kind of lean towards the over in that, but at this point, I would be looking to fade either one of these pitchers. Maybe team total, maybe an over. Maybe somebody's got a better idea than me here.
Bessie Betts in the comments. What a cute little doggy you have. That's very cute. Very cute picture you got there. Do I really look that different? Everyone's saying, who's the new guy? Who is this guy? And do I really look that different? Seriously? I guess just putting a hat on makes one look that different, huh? Okay, if you say so. Anyway, I just walked in from a drinking party, so yeah, this is what I look like at night, I guess. So I have Bubich ranked number 6 out of all major league pitchers. My numbers. He's a really good pitcher, you guys. Tampa, not such the lock that you may think. However, Tampa's hitting better than almost any other major league baseball team at the moment. So we have an elite pitcher going against a really good lineup. So that kind of cancels each other out, in my opinion. Royals are not really hitting very well. Taj Bradley, yeah, he's sub-mediocre. Not great, not bad. Both bullpens, mediocre as well. So just looking at this, looks like a stuck in the mud kind of game. So I would go under in this one. But I haven't played it yet. But yeah, this looks like one of those stuck in the mud, 1 run every 2 or 3 innings, like a 3-1, 5-1 kind of game. Looking like to me.
I know Bubich had that kind of rough go against the Yankees, but he has been tremendous this year. I mean, that he mixes his pitches up well. I really thought there was a point in time early on where I was like, this can't continue, right? Like, this is going to fade. It's Chris Bubich, right? Like, he's not going to continue at this pace, but I became a believer during that stretch. I want to say like late May, maybe into this month. It was actually like a whole month where he was just like 7 innings, 6 1/3, 7 innings, 6 2/3. Every start was a quality start. I know he had that one bad outing against the Yankees. Last time out, he kind of didn't work as deep against the Rangers. Still makes it 5 1/3, 3 runs, kind of scattered hits around. I'm a pretty big believer in Chris Bubich right now, and I'm not fully sold on this Rays offense. That's the thing. I know they're hitting, but I look at that lineup 1 to 9, and I just They're scrappy as hell. We talked about this. We've made the comparison. Like Rays almost like a poor man's Tigers in a lot of ways with how the lineup where they'll get a guy on. They just find ways. But I still think Bubic is potentially going to keep this up for the season. Bryan said it. 5 pitches, mixes them well. Doesn't have much of a fastball, but the way Major League Baseball is set up now, you don't really need a fastball. If you command your other pitches, you don't need a great fastball. If you can command the other ones, price point is about, I think, fair. I think the price is kind of spot on. I don't know that there's a ton of line value, but I definitely think Royals is the side I would look at here. So, and great points for some of the chat. Rays always do more with less. I get the reasoning behind maybe wanting to take a stab with the Rays from a value standpoint, but I think for me in this series, I would wait. I think this is not the spot to do it. That's what my gut says. Wait until later in the series to find a spot with the Rays. Sorry, Bryan, did you have something else there?
No, I just wanted to put on the Bubic's fastball is in the 20th percentile. Yes, but yet that's his most thrown pitch, 38%. I would prefer if he got even farther away from his fastball. If it's clear that that's not your best pitch, if you've got 6 pitches, don't throw as often. It's pretty simple.
Good point by Colin Gregory. It looks like they recalled Chandler Simpson. I don't really understand why they sent him down in the first place. That's certainly a check mark in the Rays column. I think he's just a creator of havoc, right? Like he might not be, he's not going to put the best, offensive numbers up and stuff, but man, if he can find his way on base, he's a havoc start. He just creates havoc, steal bases, taking the extra base. Those are the types of guys that the Rays find, they just have compiled a few of them. And I think it helps them, put more wins in the win column. It maybe doesn't show up on paper all the time. So interesting matchup right there. Probably won't be involved. Let's go out west because I saw a couple of people talk about this game and want to talk about this game. So we have questions here, boys, about the total and the side. And Danzo says San Francisco has the best record in the league in one-run games. They've already played 32 of them. That doesn't surprise me one bit. I feel like that's San Francisco Giants baseball, winning games 4-3, and they're going to have to win a bunch of run-one games to kind of stay where they are this year. Tonight, we've got the veteran Justin Verlander on the mound. This is the final game on the board. Miami heads out west. It's Cal Quantrill, Justin Verlander. Thought this price was a little high, though, but what do you think, Bryan Leonard?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, we're looking at right now about 175 to 180 on San Francisco, total of 8, Quantrill and Verlander. Quantrill's not somebody who we reach out for and try to bet on him, but he's over the years, he's the 7th season, comes in with a 4.20 career ERA. But if you take a look at this year, it's down. He's not quite the pitcher he was before. 5.68 ERA, 5.61 expected, 1.47 WHIP, strikeout to walk ratio 10.6, and other than a 68% walk rate, percentile walk rate, 63rd in chase rate, everything else is poor this year. He's got the expected ERA is 6th, expected batting average of 5th. And then when you look at ground ball rate, 15%. So he gives up fly balls. And he's not the kind of guy I'd like to play here in this game. I wanted to fade Verlander a little bit. I think he's still getting a little bit too much boost on his name. He still hasn't won a game this year. 0-4, 4.45 ERA, 5.06 expected, 1.43 WHIP. And similar, his only things he's in the positive in is his whiff percentage, 57th percentile, hard hit rate, 56. So when I take a look at these two teams, the first thing I take a look at is say, well, with 2 bad pitchers on the mound, maybe we should play the over here. You're looking at a total of only 8 in San Francisco, and we do like the hitting of this Miami team. We've talked about it in the past. And I do like that Tampa Bay offense. I think that Tampa Bay offense is very deep. But getting back to this game, in San Francisco's obviously they're missing their third baseman, but they get Devers back. The problem with San Francisco here is if you followed them all weekend, the wind was blowing out. When Cleveland was there, the wind was blowing out every day, and 15-20% to center field, and the games are still going under. So slightly to the over here, but it's tough to score runs in this ballpark.
Yeah. I agree with what Bryan said. Mostly, Verlander is getting by on his name, but he's not as good as his name anymore. His wife still is good.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not. His wife's still good even after 2 kids. She's looking great, but he's not. And I'm going to attack the outs prop, I think, in this one because they have him at 16.5, which means they say he's going to record 2 outs in the 6th inning. I doubt that. Miami's not such a slouch at the plate. And I'm projecting Verlander at 13.8 outs, around 14. So I'm not even predicting him to finish the 5th inning. He probably will finish the 5th inning because when you do outs props, 15 and 18 are like the cutoffs, right? You finish 5 innings, finish 6 innings, and managers like to switch pitchers, between innings. They don't usually like to switch pitchers in the middle of an inning. They do sometimes, but anyways, I think Verlander under 16.5 would be a decent play. I have not put it out yet, but I think I might. And by the way, to the comments, Rod in the comments, thank you for buying my $5 play. That was a typo, and I just fixed it. So thank you for that heads up.
I just wanted, before we get to it, I'm looking at his starts on the season and going backwards. He's got 4.2, 4, 6, 5, 6.1, 6, 6, 5.2, 5.2, 2.1, 5, and 5. So he hasn't gone 2 outs in the 6th inning all year long.
Right. He might today, but look, Miami's bats are not that bad. Actually, both of these teams, I have them ranked pretty low in current form, but Verlander's just not what he used to be, and I don't really see him catching on to being what he used to be. What do you think, Adam?
What is the outs total?
16.5. So they're saying he's going to get 2 in the.
So if he goes 6, he goes over. I just want to make sure that. Yeah. So
if he goes 5 2/3, he goes over. If he goes 5 1/3, he's under.
I mean, he's pitched 6 innings. He's pitched 5 2/3 or 6 innings a handful of times, I guess. So I watched every pitch. Was that not in April? Did he not go 6 against the Angels, 6 against the Rangers?
Okay. Maybe at the beginning of the season.
6 1/3 against the Rockies.
3 times since April 20th. He's gone 6 innings.
Okay. I don't think he will today.
Now, here's my assessment of Verlander. I watched every pitch of that game against the Guardians. I feel like his defense let him down on a couple of occasions. I actually had no issues with how he threw the ball against the Guardians in that game. One of the hits was right fielder lost the ball in the sun. And then the runs were completely set up by a very lazy error by the second baseman. It should have been 2 outs, no one on in the inning that he gave up the 3-run homer. Instead, it was 1 out, man at first on a horrible error. He walked the guy, then he gave up the homer. Other than that, and the ball that was caught in the sun, that was all of the runs he gave up in that game. 6 strikeouts. The problem is, I think this Marlins lineup is much better than the Guardians. I think that Guardians lineup is atrocious. The Marlins, they can put together a lineup that can hit right-handed pitching. So, first thought, price is insane. I don't really want any part of the Marlins going out to the West Coast like that. It's an insane price on Verlander -180. That being said, I don't really care for the Marlins either. I lean toward the over as well. I think you're going to see some runs here. I think Devers is a huge boost for this Giants offense. You're going to start to see it long term. It's harder to navigate their order when you've got Heliot Ramos and Devers up here at the top of that order. I do know he clogs the bases up a little bit, but I still think that they're going to produce more runs going forward. And I don't really know what to think about Verlander. He could go 6 scoreless here against the Marlins, or he could get lit up but that's more on the Marlins. That's just the Marlins' inconsistency as a team. My gut says it's the former, though. I think there's going to be runs here, so I'll call it over. I'm not going to put that in the parlay, but I kind of like that one. That's the most I've liked something since we started the show, over in this Marlins Giants game.
Yeah, the first 5 is over 4.5. It's like minus 100. So that's not a bad bet either.
That's your leg of the parlay?
I don't know. I don't want to commit to that yet. We are at the half-hour mark, or actually the 25-minute mark.
Wow.
We will have a 3-teamer locked in by the end of this show, so stay tuned. TB and I hit yesterday, Braves Mariners. We hit our parlay. We're going to try to do it with a 3-teamer today. And over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll all lock in a leg. I am going to shelf that one, though. I'm not going to commit to that yet, but I do lean pretty strongly toward the over in that game. Let's head back to the chat right here. I saw a couple people ask about it. Andrew Wheeler said Detroit should crush the A's today. Yeah, they should. I don't have much to say here.
Yeah.
Same thing as last time. Tariq Skubal is going to near a $3 favorite. That being said, this does seem like a good spot for the Tigers to roll someone. But even that minus 1.5, Bryan Leonard, is pretty juiced. So any way for you to get involved with Tigers A's?
No, I was just in Sacramento and watched the series with Cleveland, and yeah, the bats are not doing very well right now for the Athletics. Skubal on the mound. I think he's a little disappointed about the way he pitched that last game. I watched it. He wasn't quite himself as he's been all season long. And this Athletics team has a lot of holes in the batting order. So he should do well, but I'm not laying that type of number.
Yeah, Tigers, I have them ranked top 10 at everything. Hitting, bullpen, starting pitcher number 1 in all of MLB. Bullpen, top 10. Batting, number 7. A's are basically 17 or worse at everything. So yeah, Tigers would be the way to go. But yeah, it's minus 300 or something. That's pretty rough to play. Parlay it with something, or I'll give you my numbers on Skubal for outs and strikeouts. When I looked at the book before my drink-a-thon tonight, Skubal's outs props was not up yet. We're not up yet, but I have him projected at 20.5 outs. So I have him going well into the 7th inning and almost finishing the 7th inning. So if his outs props are 17.5, you should jump all over it. Even 18.5 at plus money, I would even take that to the over. And for strikeouts, I have him projected at 7.3. And his strikeout prop is 7.5. So I'm not betting an under, though. No chance. But I'm projecting him under, but I'm not betting that. So just giving you guys my numbers so you can make a wise choice.
I fully expect the Tigers to win this game. I really don't have much else to say about it, but I want to use my little time for this game to ask Bryan about Sutter Health Park as a big league ballpark. Give us a quick 1-minute review.
I like the park. Everybody was friendly. Obviously, half of the fans are from the opposing team. When the Yankees were there, I heard it was 90% Yankees fans. So you're not getting much of a home advantage here. It was interesting to see the players running back and forth from the middle of the outfield to the benches because that's where the locker rooms are. Love the scoreboard because it had all the advanced stats on it. Unfortunately, they don't have an out-of-town scoreboard, so you have to watch. You have to look at your phone to check scores, which is not a problem, but it'd be nice to just glance at it. But no, we really enjoyed Sacramento, and yeah, we'll be back again. We'll probably go back next year to see Cleveland play.
I would not take Skubal's under, even if it's 8.5, just to let you know.
In related news, it looks like you'll have a big league ball club in Las Vegas within the coming years. I think they broke ground on a stadium yesterday. I saw the A's posted that and still have comments off on their Twitter. So that's
they said something like we're Las Vegas's team now or something on their Twitter or something. It made news.
Believe that's 2028. They're targeting that.
3 years later.
String Cheese Gaming. Thoughts on the Orioles game? We opened the show with that one. So as always, shows on demand. So if you miss something, you can always go back, and it's up on YouTube on demand. So don't forget to leave us a like, subscribe, tell us what you think about the show, good or bad. We take all comments, criticism, praise. We will take it all. And Ronnie Vegas says algorithm boost. Yeah, help us boost that algorithm. We want to keep getting this show as many views as possible. So appreciate you guys, especially, the ones that tune in live, the ones that can't tune in live and watch the show on demand. Actually, we're going to do a game first, but then I have a question from someone in the on demand yesterday that I said I would get to today. But first, I want to talk about this game because I think this is so intriguing. We've got Yankees Reds, and we have the major league debut of top pitching prospect Chase Burns. I thought this might happen quickly. I didn't think it would happen this quickly. And what a way to start your big league career. You fly through the minors. Kid was pitching in college last year. You fly through the minors. You have 2 starts at AAA, and now you're starting a pretty big game in your home ballpark against the New York Yankees. Reds got it done yesterday, but it's Chase Burns, Carlos Rodon, Bryan Leonard. What do you think here? Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, I've been excited for him to come up. Big strikeout pitcher. The only problem is his first 3 starts, I believe, are against the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Reds, if I remember correctly. The Red Sox. The Red Sox. And so we'll see how it goes, but we'll know if he's good at all after these first 3 starts. I had mentioned in the past I thought Rodon was a little bit inconsistent, but somebody tweeted out something the other day, and it was about the most consistent pitchers in baseball and obviously inconsistent. And he was one of the 2 that was very consistent. So my mistake on that. The only thing that's poor on him is his extension, 19th percentile, but he's been very good all year long. 3.10 ERA, 2.95 expected, 0.98 WHIP. Fried gets a lot of the talk about the Yankees, but Rodon's been terrific all season long. He's a guy that you got to have a pretty good reason to bet against him. Chase Burns, one of the hottest prospects in Major League Baseball, right-handed thrower, 6'3", 210 pounds, 22 years old. Real excited about what he's done. And if you take a look at in the minor leagues, he's considering how big of a strikeout pitcher is. His WHIP is under 1 everywhere all year long. He's been to 3 teams this season, and he's performed very well. He was obviously a recent draft pick, number 2 to the Cincinnati Reds last year in the first round. So highly touted, excited to see him pitch. But it's got a tough situation for him going here against the Yankees. The under makes a lot of sense to me, but he is a right-handed starter coming in for his first career start. And we've seen this time and time again, these guys that are highly touted righties. Now, the Milwaukee pitcher has been different this year, and he's done it two starts in a row. We'll see if Burns is supposed to be on that level. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited about this game. We're looking at a 9.5 total, kind of high considering what could be the talent of these 2 teams. The best part of them is the starting pitchers today. So slightly to the under in the first 5, but other than that, sitting back and hoping to learn something.
Yeah, I think it's Yankees or nothing here. I understand he might have put up great stats in the minors, but he's going to face Judge and a bunch of other major leaguers here. And Rodon, trusty veteran, even on the road. I think the Yankees have a lot of advantages here. And after yesterday getting beat, I think it's Yankees or nothing here. The price is a little steep. Minus 160, I think it was. So tough price, but Rodon is a trusty pitcher, and I think the Reds are hitting well, which is kind of scary, and they're at home, which is also kind of scary. So I would think twice about betting 160 on the Yankees here, but I think they'll probably take this one. Maybe a -1 to knock 30 cents off the price and go with the Yankees here.
Yeah, I think for me it would be Yankees or over. Couple things. So the Burns in the minors, he's probably, I mean, he's gone pretty deep. Like last couple starts, 7 innings, 5 1/3, 7 innings at his most recent start in AAA. He is the real deal. I believe he broke Paul Skeen's record for biggest signing bonus out of college last year. Got, I think he 9.25 million, I believe, guys. It was his signing bonus. He was the second overall pick in the 2024 draft. He has been phenomenal in the minors this year. After not playing, I don't think he played any minor league baseball last year. I think he just went to the complex and did some training. Obviously, he just came off pitching a full college season. So he has only played minor league baseball starting this year. He has been fantastic. But as Tokyo Brandon said, now you're in the big leagues. Now you're against the Yankees. I don't think that necessarily means he pitches poorly, but I do think he's going to have to work a little bit harder to get outs. And I don't see him going particularly deep. I think even if it's a Mizorowski thing where he's awesome, I think maybe he gets through 5. That's what I think is a reasonable expectation here for him to go 5 good innings. After that, the Reds have used a lot of bullpen the last couple of days. So that would be where I think the runs could potentially come for the Yankees is end of this game when the Reds are very, sort of out of bullpen arms, because I just don't think he's going to come out and throw 7-8 innings in his big league debut against a lineup like the Yankees. On the other side, Rodon is I feel like he can be had in certain situations. And the Reds, I like this lineup. I've kind of said it all year. I think they have a ton of upside. And then, of course, Great American Ballpark is a ballpark that sort of promotes offense. So, again, nothing is going to make my card here, but I do lean Yankees. I do lean over, and I'll just take it one step further. I bet on Chase Burns successfully last week in a AAA game. That AAA game was against Scranton Wilkes-Barre. That's AAA for the Yankees, so expect that Shelly Duncan is on the phone relaying any info he's got to the big league club as he'll now face the Yankees. He's facing the same organization again. They might be able to pick something up there. I can't wait to watch it, though. It's going to be a fantastic. I love watching a guy like Chase Burns sort of fly through the minors, and now we get to see him against big league pitching. It's going to be great. There's our guy Mark Kinson. He's here today. He wants to cover Cubs Cardinals, and how can we do a baseball show without talking about Cubs Cardinals? A great rivalry. I feel like we kind of got the Ben Brown discussion right yesterday, Tokyo Brandon. He got hit hard. And so today we've got Jameson Taillon and another guy, younger guy that I like quite a bit. I talked about him last week on this show. Mike McGreevy, Cubs reeling a little bit all of a sudden. Someone in the chat called that the other day. They were like, I feel like it's the Cubs are about to go in on a little bit of a slump, and they have been. Brian Leonard, do they bounce back here?
Yeah, you mentioned the game you got right yesterday. I watched the show yesterday. You guys did a great job, and you broke that game down very well. Taillon and the Cubs are about a 113 road favorite here, total of 9. Taillon's got some red and he's got some blue, so he's been all right in certain situations and not in others. 3.84 ERA, 4.06 expected, 1.04 WHIP. His walk rate's been excellent in the 92nd percentile. Last year he had a 4.9 walk rate, and this year's got a 4.9. In fact, he's had a walk rate in his 9 seasons of 4 in the 4 under 5, I guess, in half of those, 4 out of the 9. So he's been very good in that regard. Does give up. He's a fly ball pitcher, which is always a concern, 14th percentile. But he's a guy that's pitching pretty well, and he's a nice innings eater for him. McGreevy, a young arm coming out of St. Louis here, one of their 2 major arms. In fact, Tinkant's also another arm there that they're got a bright future out of these guys, and he's been good. He's got a 2.70 ERA, 0.84 WHIP in 16 2/3. Expected ERA 3.82. Very good extension. His walk rate's been terrific. Last year in limited time, 2.3%. This year, 3.1%. And in fact, he's got a 20 a 20 strikeout to walk ratio, which is excellent. So he's been very good. So we got two pitchers here that I kind of like in this situation. And we're looking, as I said earlier, about the total and all here with the Cubs. And that's looking at 9. I kind of like that under a little bit. That'd be the way that I look in this one.
Yeah, small sample size, but McGreevy's got great numbers so far. Matter of fact, the Cardinals are doing pretty much everything better than the Cubs. It's one of these things where I have them ranked higher than the Cubs at everything, but just a little bit. I like to see a little more separation between teams if I'm going to take them. And I don't know if I'm ready to take McGreevy and put money on him yet, but he looks pretty good so far. And never been a fan of Tejon, even in his Pittsburgh days. He's having a better season this season. He's keeping his walks down. And so this looks like it might be an under, but it's really hard to take an under on a team like the Cubs where they got Suzuki and Happ who are cranking it. And the Cardinals are actually hitting better than the Cubs now. So I would be afraid to take an under in this one. Maybe take a flyer on the Cardinals if you can get a good number. Probably won't bet it though.
Yeah, it's a tough game in my opinion because part of me I really like McGreevy. I've talked about him a couple of times, and I my numbers slightly lean toward the Cardinals. Definitely, if they're plus money right now, I haven't looked at the odds screen. Like any plus money with the Cardinals would represent some value here. The problem is I am so long-term high on this Cubs team that it is very difficult for me to come in and play against them after they've lost a couple games because I just don't think the Cubs are going to have like prolonged slumps this year. So it was Dio Snake in the chat. He's here today as well. He says, I was the one in the chat yesterday who said the Cubs could have a short-term slump. Not sure I'll fade them today. I kind of am right with you. I feel like, I actually played against them on Sunday with the Mariners. They lose last night. I'm not sure I want to fade them today either, and I have less of a read on the total. So it'll be a game that I'm probably just going to watch. But my numbers do show a little bit of value here on the Cardinals. Listen, chat, we're going to 10:05 this morning, so we still got about 18 minutes of show left. We are going to get to the parlay. Do not worry about that. So here's the plan for the rest of the show. I got a question from the on-demand show yesterday that I said I would address today, and then we will talk parlay league. So Steve P, thank you for leaving the question. I want to make sure that if people are commenting that can't watch the show live on the on-demand, that we get to their questions. TB, he loved your show on Saturday. So shout out Tokyo Brandon. I think he did an hour by himself on Saturday. It's hard to do, and a lot of people really enjoyed that. He said TB gave out the Braves as a play. He parlayed it with Tucker, hit run RBI, and Bush hit run RBI. Hancock was on the mound and the wind was blowing out. Both have been hitting, so I gave it a shot, believing one or maybe both could hit. He's asking us as a panel, can we do a hit run RBI pick on the show so we see how professionals break it down? I really don't play that market ever. So, but TB, do you have anything to offer there? He wants a hit run RBI, or what's your thought process when trying to handicap that market?
Well, I mean, there's really only one thing to do when you're doing that is you take a veteran pitcher who's been in the league a while and take a look at the batter versus pitcher stats and take someone who crushes him. Like, for example, I just pulled up Charlie Morton, and Marcus Semien crushes him in his career. I wouldn't say crush him. He's got a 333, but he's got a good sample size, 9 out of 27. So taking Marcus Semien for hits run RBI might be decent in the Charlie Morton game. But I would look for a batter who has at least 20 at-bats against the pitcher, and he has over a 750 OPS against that pitcher. That's what I would look for in general. But today, I don't really have a great one. Mookie Betts is always a great hits run RBI guy if you can get him for over 1.5, but they're not playing today. Freddie Freeman's also always a good one, and so is Teoscar Hernandez. So Find a guy who's got a 750 or higher OPS against that pitcher and 20 or more at bats, like Simeon today.
Steve Duke says he does about 60 of them a day. That is some savage behavior right there. I love that.
Hope you're betting, because you know what? You're betting $1.
No, honestly, it's a sharp market though. Bryan Leonard, I have seen some sharp guys really hammer away at that market if they can.
Yeah, if that's your specialty, like if he's got 60 and he does it well, maybe he could put something in to the chat on how he does it, and we can all learn. We're all trying to share here. So I need to get to my thing. We're all down here to like 15 minutes left. I need to get to my parlay leg. I'm going to take a look at the Arizona-Chicago White Sox game. Nelson against Leisure. Basically, Nelson's about a 120 favorite, total of 8.5. The reason why I chose this one is, if I can get to that here. We talk about Ryan Nelson all year long. He seems to be a polarizing figure. In the fantasy community, they love him. In the baseball community, they're disappointed. But he is coming in with a 3.88 ERA, 4.23 expected, 1.08 WHIP. He's got great extension, 83rd percentile. His chase rate is low and his whiff rate is low. But he's been a guy that Arizona has been high on, and he's been pitching very well as of late. Last time out against Toronto, 5.2 innings, a 1 earned run. Game before that against the Padres, 5 innings, 0 earned runs. He got hit against Cincinnati, in Cincinnati, which a lot of people do. He got bombed in that game. 7 earned runs in 3 innings. But other than that, you go back right before that against Washington, 4 innings, 0 earned runs. Pittsburgh, 6.2, 0 earned runs. Dodgers, if you're talking about Pittsburgh and Washington, the Dodgers, 5 innings, 1 earned run. He's starting to put it all together. He didn't have it in Cincinnati, but I can attribute that. I'll attribute that to the great hitting ballpark, and you're just not going to have it all the time. Chicago White Sox are going to go over Jordan Leisure, as it's going to be a bullpen game. And bullpen game is fine, but yesterday, I believe they had used 3 bullpen arms, pitched 97 pitches out of that because the starter couldn't get out of the second inning. And Smith, my favorite pitcher in that rotation, just didn't have it. In fact, the last 2 times he didn't have it, which brings me back to one of the games we talked about earlier today with Bubic. He's getting there where he's throwing in an area that he hasn't pitched before with that many pitches, high-profile pitches in the major leagues. I mean, a lot more than minor leagues. So what Smith's going through, I think Bubic is possibly going to get through. But Leisure's going. He's got a high whip, 1.52 on the season. Pretty good strikeout numbers. But he will start, and the rest of this White Sox bullpen will be used after that. But as we have said in most of these teams, the Rockies, the bad teams, the Rockies, the White Sox, teams of that sort, the bullpen is usually the weakest part of the team, and we're going to see that all day long. Grant Taylor's the one guy I like in this bullpen. He actually got the save in his 3rd career appearance. That was on Sunday. I like him, but other than that, I don't see a lot to like in this White Sox bullpen. So, we like Arizona in this one, and the price is very reasonable. And
so what can you give me the parlay leg again, just so I can record?
We're playing Arizona, specify Nelson, if you can. And we're looking at basically a minus 120.
D-backs minus 120, full game, first leg of the parlay, locked in. Bryan Leonard, I'll just get a circle back to, I have one thought about the runs, hits, home run prop or whatever it may be. I feel like you want to look for guys that end up near the top of the order that are typically not always at the top of the order, because I think some of the odds come out. And then if there's a guy that's like, maybe he's usually in the 6 or 7 hole and suddenly he's 2nd or he's 4th. I don't think the books adjust those quick enough. I feel like it's key if you can steal that extra at bat. So I'd want to look at guys at the top of the order. But the problem is if the guy's leading off every day, that's going to be priced in. So, I think that's an interesting way to attack it. By no means do I do this, though. I'm just like that's my trying to think outside the box way to attack those props. Bryan Leonard locked in Diamondbacks with his parlay leg. I am going to go with my parlay leg next, and then we'll finish up with Tokyo Brandon, get a nice 3-teamer here. I know it's like this is a little bit square maybe, but I think it's perfect for the parlay. I don't see how the Brewers lose today. I was on the Pirates. Why were you going to use that?
Yeah, go ahead though. I'll find
All right,
something.
listen.
No,
TV,
it's good.
Do you have something else? Because I had another. I'll give that one to you if you want it. If that's, I have another one. So why don't I'm gonna go right to Tokyo Brandon right here. Brewers Pirates. What do you think?
Yeah. Sorry, Adam. I don't mean to step on your toes there. Brewers -210. I like it because Haney's just been absolutely crushed by these Brewer batters in his career. I do like Haney. I like him ever since he left the Angels. He's pitching great this season, but Brewers have been crushing him throughout his career, and Brewers are on fire right now. Have him hitting number 4 in Major League. Bullpen playing great, and Peralta's playing great as well this season. So I don't see it. Look, I got the Pirates ranked 19th or worse in every category I rank. So they got a couple bats, but I just think the Brewers are going to crush them here. So I like the Brewers -210, or you could take a -1 at -160. But yeah, since it's a parlay, we'll go with -210 Brewers on the money line. Thanks, Adam.
You can get it at about 200 in most places right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was let
me throw one more thing in. People in the chat were asking me for my Framber Valdez and Ranger Suarez strikeout projections. I have Framber projected 6.28, and I got Suarez projected 6.17. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, and I'll support what you said by saying, I had last night I hit 5% winner on the Pirates +1.5. What I want to add to your handicap is they went all out to get that win. They started Braxton Ashcraft, who was great, but it was known he wasn't going to pitch very deep. He only was able to go. He only went 3. I mean, it was 3 of as good of innings as he could have possibly had. I thought they were actually going to send him out for the 4th. He was only at like 35 pitches. They decided not to, which meant they needed Stratton. They needed Madison. Bednar closed. I mean, they said they had the lead and they were like, we got to win this game. And they went with all the big bullpen guys just right after one after another. So then, kind of having to turn around here. I'm not a huge Haney guy. And, knowing that all those guys were so taxed yesterday, I feel like Brewers is a no-brainer parlay leg. So I co-signed that one, Tokyo Brandon. Brian, did you have something to add there?
Nope.
All right, so I got to find a third. No, that's okay. I got to find a third one. And
I had to express my angst when you said Brewers. I was like, ugh.
That's okay. That's all right. So we've got about 8 minutes of show left, and I'm gonna go grab one more game. The chat really wants to talk Mets Braves. So I think we should talk Mets Braves, and then I'll close it out with my parlay leg. Brian Leonard Strider's a guy you've talked about a lot on this show. The Mets are reeling right now. Big time. They need Grimace back. They got to get Grimace back to throw an opening pitch. I believe they've lost 9 of their last 10. How do you see this one, Braves Mets?
Strider against Montas. And if you've paid any attention to how Frankie Montas has pitched in his rehabilitation starts, he's been horrendous. His numbers on the season in Major League Baseball have not been that great. 4.84 ERA, 4.71 expected, 1.37 whip. The only thing he's done well is his fastball velocities in the 70th percentile. I want to avoid Frankie Montas in this game. Problem is, do you want to lay that price? And the price we're looking at right now is basically 140, 142, maybe 9. I like Atlanta here, but you could look at it from the other standpoint and say, well, the Mets are just as good as Atlanta is, and you're getting them at, plus 125 to plus 130. But I don't want Montas. If I had to play this game at all, I would play Atlanta team total over. That is looking at right now 4.5 to the over 30. basically. So they score 5, you got a winner. This is a good pitcher's ballpark, but I think Atlanta gets this victory, and I think they get to Montas.
I totally agree with everything Bryan just said. Strider, I don't know if he's all the way back. I have him ranked 15 out of 30 on a curve of 30, but it's still better than Montas. He did have a really good start his last one out, so he's definitely on a good trajectory. I think he'll even get better. You know, the Mets are always dangerous, but they're in a little bit of a quagmire right now. They're not really hitting well. Even though Soto's bat has woken up, not getting a lot of production from others. Atlanta too, though. I mean, I have them ranked 15 out of 30 in current form. The bullpen's the huge difference. The Mets bullpen has just been floundering, just awful. I think as horrible as Montas has looked, and as steady as Strider has looked, plus the bullpen discrepancy, I think Atlanta would be the only way to go in this one.
Your boy was at one of those Frankie Montas rehab starts up here in Syracuse, New York, and was sitting like third row, got a great view of it. He didn't have much. So yeah, I was impressed, like the first 3 batters he faced, and then I think Will Robertson, who's now up with the Blue Jays, took him deep like 3 times. It was not good. And then he came out the next week. It was also not good. So yeah, I have no interest in backing him. I will get in with the Mets at some point. It's just not going to be here. I think there's going to be a run on the horizon for the Mets, but man, it can't do it right now. I even thought like maybe Mets plus 1.5. And I was like, no, just wait. There will be a time to jump in with the Mets. It's not right here, but I need to jump in and close out this 3-team parlay. I'm going to keep it very simple. I am a believer in this Red Sox team still, and I think the Angels are not. I just don't think they're very good. I don't know how they continue to hover around 500. I'd love for someone to explain that to me. I can't. I just don't understand how they continue to win games. The Red Sox have Garrett Crochet on the mound tonight. I think he is still one of the elite starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. For whatever reason, hasn't gotten it. I don't think he's gotten the market respect that he's deserved this year at times. And even in this game, Bryan, what am I looking at for a Red Sox money line? I know it's juiced, but it's not as juiced as I think it should be.
Boston is minus 163, total of 8.
Yeah, that's kind of he should be a $2 favorite here, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think he should be a $2 favorite. I will call it minus 165 to close out our parlay. So, to recap, we have the 3-teamer for today. TB and I hit ours yesterday, so we're already off to a great start on the week. I believe if we hit this one, we will be at our season high in terms of profit on these. So, big night for us here if we can get this one. Pretty straightforward 3-teamer, all sides, all full game sides. We have Diamondbacks for Bryan Leonard, Brewers for Tokyo Brandon, and Red Sox for myself. That comes out to plus 341. That's not bad considering, Brewers and Red Sox are favored. They're kind of juiced up a little bit. So 341 plus 341 odds on that parlay. Do either of you have anything to add, Angels, Red Sox, before we sign off?
Angels, Red Sox. I kind of agree with you. I mean, the Red Sox are hitting better. They got the better starter. I can't really disagree with anything you said on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit like, you're laying a price on the road, but again, it's more of a personal. I'm a believer in the Red Sox still, even after they traded Devers. I know some people are trying to write them off right now, and I just don't think the Angels are very good. So I'm going to roll with that for a parlay league. All right, we have reached the hour. We appreciate you guys tuning in one more time for the 3-teamer. Diamondbacks, Brewers, Red Sox, all full game sides. Comes out to about plus 340. And we will see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, as always, hopefully with another parlay win.
$5 Tuesday.
Tomorrow. Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's $5 Tuesday. Go. Everyone's got plays up for $5. Go check it out. Like and subscribe. See you guys tomorrow morning.